What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a Movie Emporium Netflix original movie review of White Noise, the newest film from director Noah Baumbach, and the story is based off the story from Don Delillo. Okay, as you can see, this is not in the car. This is not in the room. This is what I was doing before I left. To take a hiatus. But my full set will be out in a couple weeks. I just got to do some tests and stuff like that, but just be aware. But here we are. We are talking a new movie on Netflix. This is, of course, Noah Baumbach's second film for Netflix. His first story was Marriage Story. I really love that film. It was one of the first Noah Baumbach films I really liked. He is a very, different type of artist, very particular taste. And here is a story that is based off what is called an unfilmable story. Apparently, this postmodern story from Don Delillo was supposed to be really difficult. It's supposed to be a really great story, made him very, very famous. But like I said, I've never read it, so I can't honestly, portray what I thought of it. But I've heard some really good things about the story. I give Noah Baumbach the credit because, of course, Marriage Story is really good. And, this story is interesting because it is a story with a lot of things to say. It's about a family who deal with, ideas of depression. They deal with normal family life. There's a, particular crash that happens, which causes the airport toxic event, which is the name of a band as well. And it really is a story about what would happen in a family dynamic when things don't go the way they seem. And that's what the story is. It doesn't really have a very traditional structure to it. It's not a story that is going to be for everyone, but the question remains, is it at least a good movie? Once again, Noah Baumbach hits me left and right. I really can't say if I love him or don't like him. He's not like Luca Guadagnino, where I don't really care for his films. Noah Baumbach is definitely a director of style. He's in that Wes Anderson, he's in that, any director Quentin Tarantino style, where he's just a director with his own look and view of the world. And this story is no different. This movie is very Shakespearean, and it's dialogue, it's story, it's telling, it's acting, the way it plays out. It's very, stage bound and stuff like that. It's a movie where people will cut off each other to, say something, and the other person will cut off the other person to say something. The dialogue, they'll be in the middle of it, and it'll just cut off. And there's, the music will be bombastic. The music, of course, is by Danny Elfman. It's a movie where it doesn't really have a traditional structure to it. It goes into several events that just kind of play out in weird scenarios, and kind of a lot of times this takes place in a supermarket, because it's dealing the life of a family, nuclear family, a family of four. They're dealing with the traditional ways of life, and they're dealing with the problems of growing up, and the problems with infidelity, and the problems with what happens in a world where an event could cause so much hysteria and so many problems, and how do we come out of that world, and what does it make us do, and how does it make us feel. And it's very much a movie that I saw what it was doing. I saw how it was playing with modern society. But you can definitely tell that Noah Baumbach struggled with the story. You can tell that there are things that, the way the story plays out, which is apparently in first person in the book, this has problems trying to adapt it to that sensibility of telling it from a third person narrative. And I wouldn't say I wasn't on board, but there were points where this movie just struggles, and I got kind of, checking my watch, and that's not what you want to do. And once again, this is a Noah Baumbach film, and this is a Netflix film. So Netflix is giving it a lot of creativity, a lot of leeway to do whatever they want. And it shows, to be fairly honest, it really feels like, Noah Baumbach is able to do whatever he wants, but he definitely is giving a different look to his directorial style. It definitely ends like a Noah Baumbach film, but in the end, it's just... It's a film that I wanted to love, but wasn't 100% on board with. So I enjoyed elements of it. I think the acting is great between, characters that are played by Greta Gerwig and Adam Driver, who got an Oscar nomination for Noah Baumbach's last movie, for people like Don Cheadle. I love the idea of using Hitler and using Elvis to kind of portray individuals who are on different ends of the spectrum, who actually had similarities to it. There's a lot of interesting moving parts in this movie that I found unique and interesting. I just don't think it entirely lands. I think it is definitely showing its struggles with trying to adapt something that was considered adaptable, and that happens all the time. You saw that with Running with Scissors and stuff like that. It's the unfortunate nature of what it is, but it's still an interesting movie. It's still a movie. If you like Noah Baumbach films, I think you'll find some really interesting stuff. But it is a very much a dark film with a lot of answering questions and ideas about what it's like to be a suburban knight in the 80s, or what it's like to deal with a pandemic, or what it's like to deal with infidelity and trouble, and dealing with kids kids that are very unique in their own right. How do you deal with that situation, and just everything about it, dealing with people just on these weird kind of trajectories that kind of play out. And, you know, it's an interesting film, so I give a lot of credit for that. But in the end, it's a film that I feel like could be much, much better. I feel like it did try, but it just really does struggle with this overarching arc and story and telling of that stuff. But with that said, if you like Noah Baumbach, you'll probably have checked it out already. If you don't, you probably won't like this movie very much. But it's a movie that's coming out on Netflix on, I think, December 30th. So right after Christmas, right before the New Year. So, you know, wait for it there. At least if you have Netflix, you can see it there. So anyways, with that said, that is going to be my take on the Netflix original movie White Noise, directed by Noah Baumbach. Yeah, there you go. So anyways, in the comments below, what do you think of Noah Baumbach? What is your overall take of this movie if you've seen it? Let me know in the comments. But otherwise, if you like what you see on these videos, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell, top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, it's awesome. Hit that like button, and we're getting there, guys. I'll have an actual set, which is going to be against a green screen because I felt like that was an easier way to do things. But we're getting there slowly but surely. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace out.